Hey everybody, it's Samitari here, and yeah, so anyways, Pokemon, or Twitch Plays Pokemon Fire Red has finally ended, which means we are moving into Platinum version. Okay, now anyways, I'm sitting there trying to think what I'm going to say about this, because the whole game, just in itself, is already turning into a disaster, and we haven't even gotten to that point. Like, in my head, I already see it happening. Yeah, you're seeing this image, and you're like, League Champion? They haven't even started playing it. Well, that's because that's my League Championship file. And, yeah, so you get to see my awesome party of, Rosalia, Luxray, Infernape, Giratina, Floatzel, and my, Steelix, which was a female. um, so, God, what can I even begin to say? Platinum version, 4th gen in general, I did not like. I like almost every generation of Pokemon. I'm not like a Gen 1er. I mean, I started playing Pokemon when I was 7, which was in 1998, which is when it came out. So it's like I've been around since Gen 1. I had the comics, I watched the show, I had the games, I got Pokemon Stadium when it first came out, along with Pokemon Snap. Like, honestly, if you would have told me when I was a kid that they had another game with like another 150 Pokemon, or even that they were going to have thousands of Pokemon, I would have been like, nah, nothing's as cool as Charizard, like, I don't know, I would have been one of those children. But the thing is like, I'm not a Gen 1er, and I really appreciate the other generations. I think 2nd generation was actually my favorite generation of Pokemon, because I'm absolutely in love with Typhlosion. And then, 3rd generation was a huge leap. Like, it had so many things that it offered players. We had the running shoes, secret bases, we had the dive HM, which was totally cool because I loved traveling under the ocean. Like, I was so excited about it. I hated the freaking Braille puzzles. I don't know how anybody would have figured those out without a game guide, but other than that, I really appreciated those. I skipped out on 4th generation because I fell out of Pokemon for a while, and then I came back when Black and White, or when Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, because my friend got me Heart Gold for my birthday, since Gold version is my favorite. And then I, of course, reserved I reserved White version, and then my mom got me White version too for Christmas. And now I have White version. So I have all these games, but the thing is I ended up getting a Platinum version from a friend for my birthday because he had 2 copies of it. So he ended up giving me one of his Platinum versions, and then I started a new game with that, while I was playing Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Or actually, no, it was while I was playing Black and White. So I had never played Diamond, I had never played Pearl, and automatically I was on Platinum. And all I can say is just, wow. Like, that region in itself was totally confusing. I have never played a Pokemon game where I was absolutely lost and I had no idea where I was supposed to go next, but that was one of those games. It was one of those games where if you put it down for a couple months and you picked it back up, you wouldn't know where you were supposed to go. And there was no way to figure out where you were supposed to go. Like, you couldn't call the professor and him be like, oh, hey, you need to check out this, or blah. Like, once you got lost, you were just lost. The region in itself was huge, and I found that there was a lot of backtracking. I didn't like the fact that you had to have rock climb to get to certain areas of the game, which is one of the only reasons I have a Steelix in my party to begin with. So I don't like the fact that you had to use rock climb in order to access certain areas. I didn't like the puzzles in general. Team Galactic was a very formidable foe. But really, I didn't fall in love with the Pokemon of this gen. I mean, I really like Floatzel. I think Floatzel's good. Luxray was probably one of my favorites. Infernape and Luxray were probably my 2 favorite Pokemon of this generation, and the other ones were just not good enough. There was nothing that made me go, with excitement, other than Infernape and Luxray. So anyways, going back to the whole Twitch Plays Pokemon thing, all I can say is Nether World, or Nether Dimension, or whatever. Like, the place where you go get Giratina. Going in that area is essential. You have to do it before you beat the Elite Four. And of course, in Twitch Plays Pokemon, you haven't beaten the game until you've beaten the Elite Four. And the fact that the game itself is just there's so many puzzles, there's so many things you have to be able to do, you have to be able to have a Pokemon that can learn Rock Climb, and that can, that can just learn all these things, Surf, and Waterfall, and Whirlpool, and blah. You basically have to have an HM slave of some sort, and it's like, and then it just gets me thinking back to Emerald, where we couldn't progress, because we had such a hard time trying to teach a Pokemon Rock Smash, because we couldn't get to the next city until we had taught that Pokemon Rock Smash. And so thinking that we have to teach one Rock Climb, and then we have to use Rock Climb, and then we have to use Waterfall and Whirlpool and Surf and blah, it makes my head spin. And then, like I said, just this finding the 3 spirits in the Netherworld and completing this puzzle for Giratina. And then most likely killing Giratina rather than catching it. Just thinking about it ahead of time, it just makes my brain hurt, and it makes me just worry about this playthrough, because, I myself, without being, one of 1,000 voices, I had a hard time playing Platinum. And because of all, like I said, all the puzzles, just all the things you have to be able to coordinate and do, and it takes so much time, and so to think that thousands of people are going to be trying to attempt this on Anarchy mode, most likely, I just don't see it getting done. I feel like they will have to put Democracy mode back in just so that we can make a little bit of progress. But I don't know. And yeah, you're seeing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon right now, because at the time of recording this, it's 5 days until they start Platinum. By the time I get this on YouTube, it'll probably be 3 days. 3 or 2 days until Platinum. So, just so you know. But yeah, I don't know. Another thing about Platinum is the lore. I know that already people are sitting there going pre-lore, and, and everybody hates pre-lore. They hate it that people are trying to plan things out before the game has even begun. And I, too, also hate that, because to sit there and try and plan things out ahead of time, we should choose a boy character, or we should name him this, or we should go for this starter because of this reason. To sit there and try and plan these things out, usually what happens is that when we plan something out in Twitch, it never goes as planned. Right now, they're saying, oh, look at these awesome Pokemon we can get at the start. Basically, you have a Bidoof, which turns into a Bibarel. And Bibarel can learn Surf. Bibarel is basically an HM slave. And he's actually not a bad Pokemon, technically. So they're like, oh god, you can get him. And then you can get Staraptor, which is absolutely beast. And then you can get, because you can get the Starly. And then, of course, you can get the Shinx, which goes all the way up to being a Luxray, which is Thundercat. And everybody's like, get the Thundercat, because Luxray is actually a really good Pokemon, too, being Dark and Lightning. Dark or Electric, which would be really helpful for our party. So yeah, what else can I say about this? We have these 3 awesome Pokemon that we can catch from the very beginning. What are our chances of catching them? So people are sitting there, thinking of pre-lore, saying, okay, we need to get this Pokemon, we need to get this Pokemon, we need to have a boy character because you can see his hat in the snow. We should start out with this starter, because if we start out with another starter, we can't beat this gym very easily, and blah, blah, blah. And just, I guess, to me, trying to plan these things out like that kind of ruins the whole point of it being a random game. The thing is, the whole point of Twitch Plays Pokemon, if thousands of people are, basically getting on this thing and trying to play this game and trying to make their own decisions while someone else is making a different decision, to see if we can just kind of learn to work together to get things done. And so if you try and plan things out ahead of time so that people cooperate with your views of how things should be done, well, that kind of ruins the social experiment, the whole, hey, this has to be random type thing. So pre-lore and pre-planning, it never works. Same with the story. What if the character's not named what you wanted to? What if we end up with a girl instead of a boy? What if we end up with the grass starter instead of the fire starter? Then your story is just ruined, because then you have to go in, you have to change everything. And it just makes the writer frustrated, it makes the people frustrated that were following this lore because they thought it was a good idea, Now suddenly it has to be stopped, it has to be wiped away, it can't be completed. You know, it's a really frustrating situation for everybody, which is why I don't think it's a good idea. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about it because the game itself has not started yet. If you want to watch this for yourself, then tune in 5 days, in that 5 days, which right now it's 4 days now. So it'll be May the 2nd. So tune in May 2nd on twitchplayspokemon.net if you want to watch it yourself. I will try and be there. I will be working early shift, so most likely I won't be able to watch the beginning of it like I want to. I might set my alarm to wake up early just to see the beginning of it, but I'm not sure. I think this is one that I really would like to be more involved with, rather than just kind of watching idly. Fire Red, I just kind of would check on the website every day to see how far we had made it, but I didn't really sit and watch it for long periods of time because it got boring pretty quick. But I think that this one, since it will be so difficult, is one of those ones that you're going to want to tear your hair out because it's just going to be one of those things where they're bound to make a lot of stupid mistakes, especially with the nether dimension and Giratina. Like, that part just terrifies me all to pieces. But that's really all I have to say about this. So go ahead and hit the like button if you like this video and you'd like to see more updates like this later on in the future. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Platinum playthrough, what parts they are going to find the hardest. Just tell me anything. What Pokemon you'd like for them to have in the party and why. Also, let me know what parts you think they're going to have the most difficulty with. Just anything you feel like you need to have to say. Are you looking forward to them playing Platinum? Also, what do you think about the copyright issue and etc. that I mentioned before? What's your opinion on it? Like, there's so many things you can comment to me about. Just write them in that little section down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah. And I guess last but not least, follow me online, because I will be writing a section on Twitch Plays Pokemon, letting you know what my favorite pieces of lore were, from all the series, and etc. So, that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say. So anyways, this has been Samatari talking about Twitch Plays Pokemon Platinum, which starts in 4 days from now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really am, but at the same time, it's already giving me a headache. But yeah, so until the next one, this is Samatari out. I'll talk to you guys later. Alright. Ciao, you guys.